what's going on, guys, and welcome back to Turn for Two.
This is Rob.
And this is Anthony, and we are officially on our 10th episode.
10 episodes.
We've made it
Let's
10 weeks.
Go.
We haven't been late once, other than the little mishap with Spotify last week.
Yeah, it was a little late.
I
okay.
actually don't know what happened with that. So
I was
we
just
weren't
sad
late.
because I wanted to listen to my beautiful voice when I was driving into work, and I couldn't, so it was disappointing.
We were half late. We were late on Spotify, but not everywhere else. So YouTube, Spotify, Apple.
If I would have just Apple Music that one.
Apple Podcasts or YouTubed it, yeah, you would have been fine.
So speaking of social medias, we have finally, as we've said in multiple podcast episodes, we have finally put our Dreamborn.inc profile up. So all the decks that we talk about on the show and throughout our ideas, and as we're placing them up, they're all going to be on there, so you can just take a look at what you want. I think there's a way you can leave comments on those, right?
I think so. We're going to put our link tree, and we're also going to, our link tree is going to be on our other social media, right at the top on our X or Twitter account, which will have a link to our Discord server, which is where we will be talking about where we're hosting our Limitless tournaments.
Yes.
We're just dumping all the good news here.
Lots of good things are on the things we've been talking about. We just haven't had the time to do it. We just sat down and we did pretty much all of it today.
Yeah.
So I know we've been making some promises, but now we're making up on those promises.
Yes.
I do have to give a shout out to Josh for helping us with
Josh
his
is a big help.
Social media endeavors, and I really appreciate him doing that.
Since Rob is very I'm not technology literate.
So I'm going to get X on my phone, but it's not going to be my X. It's just going to be Turn for Two's X, which I'm fine with. I don't otherwise don't need it.
That's also what Josh does. This is only ours and the other one that me and him have.
Which is fine. And I think that it's good so that as we've all these times, I'm like, oh, tell me what you think about these things. We haven't had that sort of medium to make it happen. So you can make a comment on YouTube, but I feel like that's probably the least common.
It'd also be nice because it's mostly me interacting with people on X, so it'll be nice when you can or I can message you and be like, hey, someone said this, and I think you'd respond to this better than I would.
Sure, I think that's a really good idea.
When you see 16 Ruby Amethyst things, and you're like, this sucks, I hate this.
I can just make my comments about how I'm feeling about it. So it gives us sort of that outlet for communication. I'm happy that we finally set that down.
And speaking of our outlet, I did reach out on Twitter 9 hours before we started recording, a little late in hindsight. But after this episode comes out, probably the day after, I'll put another thing up on Twitter asking them what you guys want to see as well. And the Glimmer Gang on X, they have their own podcast. Shout out to them.
Yes, thanks Glimmer Gang for actually the only reason we were visible, because we are still new to the format, was because of you tweeting us. So
when I searched
appreciate that, guys.
When we searched on my main YouTube Twitter account, it was specifically your tweets twice of responding to us is the only way that we came up. So thank you for the little bit of visibility. And
I'm going to give you guys a listen. I'm excited to see your opinion on this as well. But the thing that they had mentioned was, tell me, did they have it right there exactly?
It says, they asked, what are y'all's hopes for organized play and as a whole for Lorcana?
In 2024.
In 2024, yes. So for organized play, my big thing, I think a lot of us have been going on, is I'm excited and hoping for a Worlds-like situation with Pokemon at Disney World.
Okay. At Disney World
specifically. But I am hoping they have not regionals level, but kind of like the old city challenges that Pokemon used to do.
That is what I'm looking for. Yeah. I would love a regionals. I would definitely go to a regionals. I think that would be really cool to see a bunch of like-minded people. Now, mind you, it's hard, I think, to establish these regionals, worlds, things like that when you only have 2 sets to work with. Now, I realize we're, inching ever closer to set 3, and then, 4, 5, and so on. But as of right now, there's only so much variety, and we're still seeing lots of variety, which is something we'll be talking about. But there's not that many combinations when you only have 200. Right? What is it? 408.
408 cards. Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking forward to. I am these bigger sort of tournament structures, but you can see online there's 200, 300 people tournaments that have happened. Most of them are in the 50s, but there's big cash events like the ones that we're going to talk about, 1K, 2K prize events. They're starting to get those things going, but I'm excited to see what their official Lorcana organized play. But I think before any of these big things, what I am looking forward to seeing is actual full-on support for localized organized play. Because sprinkle in a couple of promos that are exceedingly hard to find. Yeah. And I don't feel like they have our quote unquote backs for organized play. So
yeah, and I
I'd
mean,
like to see that part of it. So like we can have promos and be excited about going to league every night.
I was gonna say maybe it's just an our area thing, but like most of the people in our area, it's like you have to show up this amount of times and do this good, and if you don't do this good, well, you don't get this promo. And it's like, I know in set 1 they had the lore counters, and it was like they made those like some stores made those hard to get, and it was like, oh, you get these like 4 months into set 2 after set 1's already out. It's like this is meant to help like newer players and like just people like your
diehard players,
right? And it's like you're just kind of forcing them to compete with each other over these promos and get them bitter instead of just like having a community being like, oh, you showed up all 4 weeks or like 3 weeks. Here's the promo. Like,
I agree that there should be a little more of that to be able to give around. And I believe it's limited because I'm sure that there's rules for who gets organized play product. You have to probably go through all those hoops that Ravensburger and Disney had set up. So, I mean, that part of it I can understand is difficult to obtain them, but you can see online, you can buy them online. It's not like they're very expensive.
Yeah.
But if they're not that expensive and they're things that you could just hand out, just hand them out then. Yeah. I don't think it's that hard.
And I mean, I'm excited I'm hoping there's not a local, but like a way you can apply to help run these tournaments locally, like, bring them to your area, like franchising a restaurant or something.
Okay,
I would like to see, I mean, we were supposed to have before COVID a Pokemon regional in our area.
Yep.
And
they made product for
it. They made product for it. Bad looking product, but there was product.
Still product.
I would like to see, I mean, I know our one friend Andy, shout out to Andy, would love to organize an event like this, like he would for Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of people in the area who are very into this game that would. I mean, I'm sure if you had the chance, you love playing, but I'm sure you would help organize a tournament if it was needed.
I am just happy to be part of the community. I love playing. That's why I'm excited to be part of the community. But if I need to be in an organizer role or a judge or a commentator.
I was going to say the two of us as casters would be pretty cool.
I'm fine with any of those things as long as I get to be involved. I would like some of the swag. I'm not going to lie.
The Turn for 2 regional.
Hey, we can make it happen.
Yeah.
But that gets started with the other bit of news that we have, and we kind of alluded to a little bit earlier, was the fact that we are finally setting a date for our Limitless tournament.
Which will be the 26th of January. It's a little far, but
we just want to give people time to hear about it, get ready for it.
Yeah. And as we've said before, at least both of us play Pokemon, so I will be away in Charlotte
the week
before. We'll still have a cast. I'll still be there, obviously, because I'm dedicated.
Heck yeah.
But we're doing it after I get back because when it comes to tournaments, you got to prepare. So
yeah.
We also, like Rob said, we want to give people enough time to register. There's a lot of other tournaments that go on online as well, so we just want to give people time to find a deck list and have some fun, and we want to be able to spread it throughout our community and be like, hey, we're going to do this tournament at 6 p.m. on a Friday.
And I feel if we can get enough people, I'm going to get together some prizes.
Yeah, I was going to say, as long as we can get a good 10, probably 12 people, we'll try to get some prize support. And the more people we get,
there's definitely going to be packs on the line for sure. But I want to make something a little more enticing to kind of try to reel a few more people in.
Yeah.
And we'll discuss that. We'll talk about it probably next cast. We'll have a better idea of what's going to happen with that.
But yeah, with that, let's get right into.
So set 2 has pretty much price stabilized. Now, this is not talking about Enchanted. So we will talk about Enchanted in just a second.
Or Steel Beast, because it goes from anywhere from 35 to close to 45 and on any given day.
Right. So Steel Beast is still going to be the expensive card. I would say if you can snipe him at 30, 34, somewhere in that range,
lucky.
I would be saying go for it. It's not that right now. It's 40-something, 43, 44 right now.
It was 28 when we said to buy.
I feel like I don't know where I am on that. I think I'm on sell at 43.
Yeah, 100%.
I think it's a really, really, really good card that has been proven to be as good as it is. But that's a pretty steep price. That being said, we also don't know where we're at in the sort of supply of set 2.
I know,
so
it doesn't
maybe
feel
that's
like
starting
it's
to dry up,
yet,
but it doesn't feel like it.
Right, around here. But again, it's different everywhere. Some places might be waning out because it's like, you got to remember there's not a ton of listings for it, so I can go actually check the listings. But I don't think there are that many listings for Steel Beast, which there isn't with a lot of Lorcana cards. So one of the hardest things for that is there's 58 listings with the lowest of 43. So it's like you have 58, but it's like once that one person comes along and they're like, oh, I'm going to put mine at 40, and then people don't want to buy it, but people see that and they're like, oh, it's not selling, I'm going to put mine down. And that's really how they go down, is just if you hold out a little longer and you try to sell right now, you'll probably sell. But as long as people try to hold out, prices will eventually fall because people do want to get rid of them.
That being said, I have 4 for sale if anybody's interested. So that being said, as far as regular cards are concerned, Art was the other one I wanted to mention. Arthur has gone down about $3. He's down to $8.
That's a buy.
I think that's a buy.
Yeah.
That's going to be probably just an even $10 card. I think it will land at. So if you can pick them up at $8, that's good. If you already have them, you already have them.
And I think there's a lot of cards in set 2 that'll level out around 8. I think like set 1, just because you have it pulled up, it's like a lot of the Enchanteds are up there, but it's like I think Silver Cinderella will end up around 10. I think the Rare Cinderella will end up around 8. I think Arthur, Alice, and Green Beast will stay around 10 until people realize how good Green Beast is. Same with Belle.
I think that a lot of these rare ones, like the Cinderella, they're gonna level out. Like Be Prepared is 8. I don't think it's going to be much higher than that, because again, technically they're supposed to be in packs. I've never seen that. I have mine, but I've never seen
a shiny one.
Yeah, which is nice. I'm not sad about that, but I've never seen just a live Cinderella in a pack.
To be fair, I mean, you also have Ariel, which is a slightly better version of that does
that's
more, and it's at $2. Yeah, and it is a silver. I do think it's because it also is a shift target for one of the best cards in set 2, steel wise.
Okay.
So I do think that's another reason that it will stay a little more expensive, but
it's the fact that it's saying that it's really a big part of that deck.
I don't think it'll go back above 10. I'd be shocked if it does. I can't see why it would.
So here's the hot take for Stonk Review today. It makes technically more financial sense, if you were about that in card games, to buy packs of set 1. I was just looking at the prices of set 1. So obviously the dragons and the Rapunzels are in the mid-30s, as they will be probably for very long.
And those will also always be cards that are playable.
But you can look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards that are at least $8 after that. So when you open a pack, you have there's 10 different rare slot cards that you can get that are going to be worth the pack. Yeah. That is not currently the case for set 2.
And a lot of them went up. Like Hades was 15 at one point. It is now 18. I regret not picking those up. Belle is still 7. Belle went up, actually.
Belle went up a lot.
Belle was 12 because I remember trading for 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, she's back up
and now she's back up to
18.
Almost 18.
Yeah.
And I think that's, set 1 will be printed into the ground. Don't get me wrong. They've already said that.
Supposed to be.
Yeah. But as of now, I mean, I've realized it just because I've opened more set 2. But, it's just at the point where with set 2, especially if you're new getting into the game, and I think a lot of people that are getting into the game, like we have one player at our locals that I was talking to, and it's like buying set 2 is good because yes, there's Steel Beast, there's good cards, but it's like
it's good playable.
Set 1, especially if you want to trade for stuff, set 1 has the more valued cards, and it's also like you have Blue Hades, you have Rapunzel, you have Dragon, you have Tinkerbell, you have Be Prepared, Whole New World, Maui. The Stitch line, if you're into that. Surfer Stitch, Elsa, Belle, Minnie Mouse, BLT even, Grab Your Swords, like Lilo and Maleficent, all these Ariel, all these cards that like were decks at one point on their own that are very good in a lot of the newer decks. Yes, there are new cards that complement them well, but most of them are under the $10 price range for legendaries, let alone the rares and commons and uncommons and stuff are cheaper. So it like... For me, I think set 2 is more at the point where you want to buy singles for decks, and set 1 is where if you see it, you can pick and you want to pick up packs. Like I would rip set 1.
Yeah, so I like drafting everything, but I've never drafted just set 1. I've done mixes before, so now it even more entices me to want to do drafts of set 1 just to get more money cards.
So you can always be scared of Be Prepared while playing draft.
That's the scary thing about draft. You never know when somebody rips a Be Prepared.
Or a Dragonfire.
Or Elsa or Hades, all of these kill spells. A Whole New World, lots of fun things to play against. But that being said, it just makes more sense to buy packs of set 1.
Yeah, I mean, I've started doing it mostly because I've opened so much set 2, but especially if you've been playing since the beginning, set 1 got reprinted a lot during set 2.
And you were too obsessed with getting set 2?
Right, and everyone was so obsessed with getting set 2. Like now, my binder's like, my set 2 binder's double the size of my set 1 and also so much more full. It looks more empty because I have so much stuff in decks, but like set 1 is where it's like if I ever got another box, I feel like it would have to be set 1. Yes, I love the enchant from some of the enchants from set 2.
Yeah.
I also do from set 1, but I'm in a position where I want to open if I want to open the best cards that are either expensive or not even expensive, just like good trade fodder or cards that are just good to play in general.
These
I feel
are just
like
all good deck cards.
yeah, and I would rather just buy singles from set 2 at this point because I've opened so much of it, and also it's just so cheap. But you got anything else?
No, you about beat it into the ground. I think we've got all the answers on that one. I think that would make it officially time for meta-analysis. So I have noticed a very wonderful trend on the ladder over the past week, and that is a reduction in the number of Ruby Amethyst that I'm playing against. I don't know how much joy that brings you, but that brings me immense
a lot of
joy. I'm so sick of playing against that deck.
I got all of the cards to build that deck, and then just decided against building it.
It's a great deck. I played my version for a long time. I really enjoyed it, but now it's just too much. I see it everywhere. Yeah. It's not fun to play even with sometimes where it's just like, oh yeah, it's the same motions. I'm not the kind of person that like the guaranteed victory every single time. Like I'm not saying that's what it is, but where you just know that the deck's going to run in this sort of way. I want a little more, I don't know, meat.
Yeah, it's just one of those decks that's very linear. It's like just one of those decks that it's like this makes the game unfun to play, like Lugia in like Silver Tempest Crown Zenith format.
It's really just stay alive until you get to 7.
Yeah.
Do be prepared, and then kill everything else that they play.
Yeah.
And it's a solid strategy, so it keeps doing well.
Yeah.
But it's nice to play against anything else.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of luck not playing against that. So that could just be my experience. Yeah. I've heard other people having different experiences, but it was at least a noticeable reduction. And I played 1 popsicle list.
So, and I mean, so you were there Thursday. I was busy with doing some work stuff on Thursday. But did you notice a lot of? I don't know what you guys did at.
So I noticed a couple different aggro builds. Josh has his aggro build. Matt has an aggro build.
I was gonna say, it's very experimental at League. There, it's like
I like people just try whatever. I was running with Mufasa Murder. That was a lot of fun. I know you're going to talk about your build.
What did Josh 2 run? Josh 1 and Josh Pokemon and Josh Lorcana. What did Josh Lorcana have?
Josh Lorcana was running his Amethyst Steel control list, which I effectively wholly copied, made a very tiny change and put it on the ladder, and I did win 3 games in a row with it. But it's interesting. It usually does what it's supposed to do, and if you get a certain kind of hand, you're effectively locked out of the game. So it's a very interesting list. Runs off of the Fairy Godmother, which is he was big on from the beginning, and he'll just play it whenever you see the baby Fairy Godmother. You're like, oh my god, and you end up sending so much resource to kill a 3/4 that otherwise doesn't do very much. Yeah. But then you can tap down with the Cinderella, so it's a lot of fun. But there was some interesting decks there, but it's just nice to see different things. That's just not the same old.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm very excited to have him and Matt on the podcast, respectively, just because they're always coming up with new deck ideas. They're probably the 2 most creative people that we've talked to for the podcast. Yeah. And I mean, we'd love to get all of your guys' opinions as well on what decks you're working on.
Send us your deck ideas.
Yeah, on Twitter or in our Discord, which we're both trying to be a little more active in. Mostly me over Rob.
As far as Discord is concerned, but I will be paying attention to X.
Yeah, and just reach out to us through there. I mean, all replies or DMs, just let us know like what you're working on. We'd love to talk to a lot. I mean, it's always nice to talk to people about their deck ideas because it's always fun. I mean, I was just sitting here thinking about stuff we'll talk about later, but one of the colors, the thing we never see is like we never see green purple, which is like a weird thing to think about.
That's
like
true.
You never see an emerald amethyst deck.
I do not. I don't think I have ever seen an emerald amethyst deck. That's funny. Oh, I put the pen away.
So there's a lot of different colors. Like you don't think about it because there's only 5, and it's like, oh, there's all these, but it's like there's some colors that you just never think because they don't get put together a lot.
So in that vein, other than the fact that there's steel lists everywhere, I have been noticing again on the ladder increase in sapphire steel. Been seeing some pretty interesting builds there. I had a build that was relying on Tiana, which was pretty cool. Would work well against, I imagine, the Ruby Amethyst package because then they can't play their Be Prepared, and they, it locks them out of a couple of things. So it's just nice to see that people are still crafting and not just falling into the, sort of an established meta only 3 weeks into, or I guess a month now into the set. But it's good. I'm happy to see it.
So one thing I noticed before we talk about these tournaments quick is it seems like, here, go back one page just so you can look at it as well. There have been more tournaments just on this one section of this page in Italy than anywhere else. There have been 7 in Italy, 6 in the US, and then 2 in France.
That's an interesting observation. There's a very good Italian following.
Yeah. This is what happens. You put Italians in front of this game, just like me, and you float towards it like pie on a windowsill.
Oh my god.
No, I do. I actually am kind of shocked it's doing. I mean, I'm very happy it's doing well outside of the U.S.
Sure.
Italy was not where I expected it to do the best, but that means now whenever I decide to travel to Italy, like I would like to one day, I can take my Lorcana with me and
you'll find somebody.
Have a good time.
So the two, no. I'm sorry. In the background, my cats are on the nip right now, so they're going to be a little loud. I apologize, guys. So there were 2 tournaments, both on the 30th of December in the U.S. at different areas. One was a 1K Lorcana, and the other was a 2,000 cash prize event. 52 and 53 players respectively. I will go with them in the order that they're on here. So top 4, 2 Ruby Amethyst again.
It doesn't shock me, but neither of them were the first. So
that's true. Steel Emerald Discard and Ruby Amber. God, I'm never gonna remember these cards. Mufasa deck won it. So as we usually do, we'll go in reverse. So Ruby Amethyst from the 4th place ran what? Pretty
Jetsam.
Oh, see, that's interesting. A Jetsam. So evasive, I guess.
Minnie Mouse Killer, probably. For mirrors or anything that runs.
I didn't realize that Jetsam is also inkable, so that's an interesting inkable evasive option.
Yeah, 3/3 evasive. He kills the minis. He kills Pascals. I think it's just kind of a thing to keep aggro down because aggro runs some evasives.
So set 8 1/3s, only one. Again, one of. Geez, I don't understand one of.
I don't understand the one of evasive.
Stylish Surfer. I like that card. I don't know that I like it at 1.
1 Yzma, which I don't like either.
3 Spellbook, which is not typical.
At least we're seeing more than 1.
Yes, I like it better than 1, but that's an interesting build. Kind of a lot of the standard pieces, but at least a little bit of change there. 3rd place was the Emerald Steel Discard, and that is a tight package.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's anyway.
You're a child.
There's a lot of 4s and 3s in here. It's just low to the ground, figured it out. But with some grab your swords, which you don't normally see in a discard deck. The full Tinkerbell package. 4/4 Tiny Tactician to Giant Fairy. I like the Giant Fairy because, again, it's Floodborn. It works with the Buckies, and you get the draws off the Prince John. But they're doing a big Floodborn package. 4 Donalds, 4 Jafars, 4 Tanks, 2 Flynn Ridas.
Flynn Rida.
Oh, and 4
Steel Beasts.
4 Steel Beasts.
Which goes from making that deck super affordable to, that deck's over $200.
Yeah. That's another thing we'll talk about the budget deck. That's a good idea. So this is pretty standard package, but very straightforward with the Floodborns really relying on that Bucky.
No one-ofs, which feels nice to see.
That's why I was excited about that. Was the tight package comment.
And back to one-ofs. No. 2-ofs. But no one-ofs.
Fine. I like a 2-of Crab in a bounce list. That's interesting. Yeah. Only 3 Tremaine is interesting. But again, a pretty standard Ruby Amethyst list. And then let's see what the spice was for Ruby Amber, the top winner here. Oh, there's the prices of the decks right there, too. I didn't even pay attention to that.
Look at that, Surfer Stitch and the Queen.
Oh, okay. So it's as I told you before, again, apparently, because there's the 4/4 Stitch Rockstar, the 4/4 Queen Commanding Presence. I just see that in all of these lists. I'm just like, I'm coming over to the Rockstar Stitch thing. I just don't understand why you need the Queen. What are you attacking with that's not big enough to kill?
The only thing I could see is using the Minnie Mouse or to buff maybe the Queen of Hearts because you can shift on turn 2 and do it on turn 3.
You only have 2 Queen of Hearts. You're not going to put a whole package for 2 Rush.
I'm guessing it's for maybe the Minnie Mouse. I really don't know.
Anyway, they won, so good job, guy.
Yeah.
This is the deck that Ant and I love right now, and we're making our own versions of, and it's a lot of fun. I'm glad to see it took down Ruby Amethyst. It brings me joy.
Yeah.
However, I already know the winner of this one. And the other tournament that we were talking about, the 53 player, is
Oh wow,
it was a mirror
Boo.
of Ruby Amethyst.
Boo.
So
it's a little different.
It's got the 4 Pascal. This one's very cheap.
Rabbit.
This is really an Arthur package because they're other than Maui.
It's all cheap.
And be prepared, but
everything in Tremaine.
Okay,
so there's 4 cards over the cost of 4.
And then everything else is very cheap. So it's really the sort of Arthur bounce package with the rabbits.
With a little bit of like offensive. I would call this less of control. I think this is more of like bounce with like defense mechanisms.
Bounce aggro. Like they're going to turn so fast with this deck. But that's apparently how you beat regular bounce. I'm going to assume this is a regular bounce list. 4 Olaf the Minnie Mouse. I don't understand why you need 8 of those still.
Plus the 3 Minnie Mouse or the 4 Minnie Mouse.
Yeah, but I get that for the evasive. Also, that's super important in the mirror.
The Ursula's
interesting. No spell books in either of those last 2 lists.
No Arthur in this one either.
So this one is more of your traditional Ruby Amethyst. It's nice to see, I guess, a different version win. 4th place, also Ruby Amethyst. Back
to the one-ofs.
I'm not seeing anything that jumps out at me as interesting on this one. 8, except for 8 Lady Tremaine. I'm pretty sure that's cheating. All right. I don't know how you can do that one. Maybe it was they put the Lady Tremaines in twice instead of the 2 cost. But definitely don't think that there's 8 because they probably wouldn't have finished 4th. Now here's exactly what I did with my Emerald Steel. They have the Cinderella. I think it's a really cool include. Well, it's because I love Cinderella.
One of Mouse Armor. Mouse Armor is not a bad card. I actually don't hate Mouse Armor. It's like not a lantern for silver, but it's like the same thing.
Concept, yeah.
Yellow seems to have a lot of cards that, we'll talk about with my deck that put things into play for cheaper. Steel has a lot of resist, and this is another card that benefits that.
I guess you could give it to Bucky to keep him alive off of a Tinkerbell. I'm not entirely sure what it's there for.
You could also give it to Beast, I guess, so it doesn't take if someone tries to just ping it for 1, you have to force them to ping it with something bigger.
I guess you can give your one copy of Cinderella using the 1 copy of Mouse Armor.
So it has 3 resist.
3. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that build. There's a lot of different changes in that. So as you can see, sometimes it's a bunch of Ruby Amethyst. So this out of 8, there were 5.
Too many.
And out of the other one, there were 4. So it's still very prevalent. It's still a good deck. I'm not denying that. I'm interested in pretty much everything else.
Yeah.
Show me something cool that's also changing things up like that. So I think that's really where we're at meta-analysis. There's some changes on the horizons. I'm glad that it hasn't sort of flattened out and been solved per se. Yeah. And that sometimes Ruby Amethyst loses, and that makes me happy.
So with that, let's get right into
a cooking time.
All right, so I'm going to start off cooking time this week since Rob normally starts it off.
Change, I like that.
I was out here talking crap last week about your Mufasa deck, so now we get to talk about how good mine is. So mine has around the same package as most, the base early curve package that most decks have with Doc and Mother Gothel, Simba's, and Mickey Mouses that are temporary. We got the 2 cost Snow White. But then it gets interesting. You get into the 3 costs and you see Aladdin, Street Rat. I run both Aladdins in here because sometimes, especially playing against aggro, by the time you get to, turn 5, 6, they're, pretty close to winning. So with Aladdin, when you can just kind of sit there and go, boom, gain 2 lore, take 2 away from you. Now you're, you're missing a character and you're closer to death.
Yeah, I love that. How much I put that in pretty much every red deck I have, so I can't be sad about that. That's really cool. Hitting the 7 cost has to feel really nice off the Mufasa.
Oh, I know. And then you got the Minnie Mouse and Rapunzel. Obviously, Mufasa's in this deck. Maui. And then the first 6 cost is Mickey Mouse, friendly face, turns for 3, and you pay 3 less to play things. So between that, the lanterns, and the Doc, you can pay up to, if you have all 3 lanterns, the Mickey, and all 3 docks,
Sure.
technically
Free dragon.
could pay 9. Yeah, free dragon.
All right.
But no, being able to put a dragon in play for 6, a Scar in play for
just taking that
Tremaine in
money
play for
off.
3.
That's true. You get some really big buys in the later game, and just like all of these decks, you have a lot of later game cards. So I think that's very interesting. It's something I hadn't considered before, but I like it.
Being able to pay 2 for Mother Gothel and then turn with Mickey to pay 1 for Rapunzel to draw 3 cards, you're paying 3 ink to basically you're paying 1 ink per card drawn.
Feels nice.
The only and then obviously there's Teeth and Ambitions and Be Prepared. Teeth and Minis might come out. I'm between Gastons because you suicide your Mufasa and then use the Gaston to ready it so you can attack with it with something like the Aladdin.
Talk about LeFou?
Yeah. You can ready with the LeFou.
Yeah, you were saying Gaston.
Oh, yeah, close. Yeah.
Yeah, same movie. You're there.
Same movie. I'm close enough. And then it was either that or adding some more, another Mickey, another Aladdin, as on the 3/3 line of all of those, along with what else did I say I was going to add? I don't remember. It'll come to me at some point.
Well, the whole point was you were really excited about putting the Scar in, which, fun fact, I ended up doing anyway because I think it's interesting.
And now you might even put the Mickey Mouse in.
Yeah, I'll consider it because upon thinking more about it, I really do have the Mickey Mouse, I put the 6 cost Rockstar Stitch in there because it turns for 3. It's a 3/5, which I like. But you're right. I'm really only just trying to hit that so I have something that turns for 3 to keep the game going in that direction. And if that's the case, then why not just use the Mickey Mouse in that slot to pay cheaper for other things, especially with my Hades package. So I'm strongly considering it, but I like how you and I have been kind of bouncing this deck back and forth and have gotten some solid ideas, and we're coming up with a pretty cool system. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I know you were kind of giving me the poo-poo face last time, but now you're seeing that it's
really I had a lot of fun when we played.
You know what I just realized?
Other than the game,
Did you see that the hyenas are at the shadows?
Yes.
I did not notice that. That's really cool.
This is also, I think, one of, if not the most expensive deck to build right now, as, 4 Rapunzel, 4 dragons.
My build is $458.45.
Yeah, mine's $479.50.
Yeah, so. I think this is probably, you're right, I can't think of a deck that could be more expensive because you have some of the most, because steel.
And if I up my Surfer Stitch count, it'll be, if I went to 4 Surfer Stitch, that would be 4 of legendaries, and then the 2 Snow White, because there's 5 legendaries and 6 legendaries with the Scar. Wow. This is an expensive deck. I mean, Scars are 9, Maleficents are 37, Surfer Stitches are 11, Tremaines are 7, Snow Whites are 8.
Cooking time, I love it.
Mufasa's 10, Rapunzel's at 34. Like, this is an expensive deck.
Yeah. Well, good on you that you've traded and worked your way towards have the pieces for it. That is actually something we had mentioned a while back, and we're going to put some serious thought and moving on is sort of budget decks for like the new player, or somebody's like, oh, I want to try something new, but I don't look to break the bank. So I always say the easiest way to not break the bank is to try it online first. You could build a deck and be like, oh, I'm not really enjoying this, or this isn't my play style. You didn't lose anything because you didn't buy anything, but it would be nice to see what's competitive. Maybe that's a challenge we could also come up with, where you and I have a certain amount of money, like $150, make a deck, whatever the best deck wins out of that. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
But is there anything else you wanted to say about your deck?
No,
it's a lot of fun.
All I gotta say is Mufasa doesn't die hard in this one, brah.
That's right. So my deck for today is Squeak 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 Squeakin', which is my version of the discard deck, the Emerald Steel. It's decently standard, to be honest. This is what I've been seeing a lot of online. I don't run the full 8 Flynn Riders. I only run 7. I don't necessarily even know that you need the 3/1/3s that I have, but I'm having it there for now because shifting Flynn Rider for 2 when you have a Bucky and doing that like turn 2 or turn 3 or doing 2 of them on turn 4 I did once because I had 2 in my hand discards a lot of cards, and then you have these 2 big guys that swing. So that's been really fun. I run mine a little bit differently. I have 17 total Floodborn, so I'm really leaning hard into the Bucky. It's sad when Bucky gets Tinkerbelled to death, but it is what it is.
It happens.
It does happen. But otherwise, it's pretty cool. It's just a cute little item that sits there and lets your opponent discard cards. I went a little short on the Prince Johns. I only have 3. You only need 1 in play, really. You do want to see it, so I understand running 4, but it doesn't really do much later in the game when they're not discarding. It's just kind of a 1/2 that turns for 2. So I brought that down a little bit. I brought my Benja count down to 3 as well because it's really just there to snipe a really important item. Otherwise, it's not really doing much for the deck other than being ink.
Yeah.
I'm currently running the Daisy Duck. I'm going between that and the Donald Duck because the Donald Duck is Floodborn, and that would give me 4 more Floodborn, so it's 21. But I feel like the Daisy Duck is really good. It's a 2/3 stays alive. You usually get at least 1 discard out of it, and then it becomes a lightning rod. So they're worried about killing Daisy Duck while you're establishing the rest of your board, which is fun. As I said, I run 3 of the uninkable Flynn Rider, his own biggest fan, the one that turns for 4 when they have their cards. I can't rationalize the 4th. It's it's an uninkable as well, and you start with that, it sucks.
Yeah.
But at the end of the game, it's backbreaking because it's turning for 4. I've come from behind really well with that card.
Yeah.
I run 4 of the Dreadnought Jafar because it's Floodborn, and I'm trying to hit off those Bucky triggers, and it's also just a good card, drawing you some cards because, again, there's a lot of card advantage in this deck. I went to a full 4 of Lucifer, the Cunning Cat. Now, you're like, oh, well, we can't run other uninkables. This one is just, it's too good, especially with another uninkable card I run, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo.
Yeah.
I run 3 Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, and when Lucifer can sing that and bounce himself, and then they discard 2 more cards, or at least 1 more action, it's pretty cool. So I also am now running the 4 of Beast, Sad Beast, Emo Beast, Tragic Hero Beast. You know the guy. It's just a great
Beast.
It's just a really good card. That's why it's expensive, but it's also Floodborn, so you never feel bad putting it down. I actually only run 3 of Tinkerbell. I know this sounds very shocking because it's me, but it's proven nice because I still get that Floodborn, but it's allowed me to get space for a different Floodborn that most people don't run in their discard deck, and that is Cinderella Stouthearted, which is just always a good card in my opinion. But in this case, she can evolve from the other one if the other one's in play. But I have 11 songs, so she can get her little singing sword action going off every once in a while. And when you finally put it into play, it's a good end game character, or it's ink. So my 11 songs are 4 Sudden Chill, 3 Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, and 4 Strength of a Raging Fire. I usually have at least 2 things in play. I have my Prince John and Bucky have Ward, and I'm just normally just leaving Beast up, so I have people in play just sitting there doing nothing. And it allows me to take out things that are ready that I wouldn't otherwise be able to take out. And then I have 4 Hypnotize for more discard action. So it spawned originally because I needed something to take down Ruby Amethyst, and I'm so sick of playing against it. And the easiest way to beat Ruby Amethyst is to just get rid of their hand.
Or just tell them not to play. Just like tell them to leave.
Yeah. Okay. So it's really kind of because I had my green beast deck that I really love, but this is just unfortunately more of a deck out of necessity than necessary want. But I am enjoying it, and it has my own sort of little flair on it, so that makes it more fun for me. But it's a discard deck like most others, but with some different kind of synergies. And I played it 5 times today, and it went 4-1. So pretty happy about that.
So next week for our cooking time, we're going to have a little bit of audience interaction. We are requesting you guys comment, tweet at us, reach out to us on any of social medias, and give us 2 cards. Any 2 cards you would like. we are going to randomly each pick one of the submissions, and we are going to build a deck around those 2 cards. We must have 4 of each of them in our deck.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a fun challenge for next week to give us, a little bit of different, shake it up and some audience interaction now that, we're trying to grow the community, and we have a lot of dedicated listeners that we talk to every week, and they like to give us ideas. So we're going to play a 10-game series, and then if we tie, we take it into the following week. But
we'll have to figure out what the winner gets. Yeah, we still haven't figured that part of it out yet, but it's just a really good chance to, like you said, kind of have some audience interaction, do a little something in that, and then just deck building around what would effectively, who cares about the meta? Like, I don't have to be, I'm gonna have to put this and this in there because I'm playing against a meta deck. It's gonna be like, okay, these are the 2 cards I have. How do I make them do something? And I have a feeling people are going to pick some silly stuff, and I'm excited to try that. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So we're just asking you guys have submissions in by Friday, January 12th. It is a short turnaround time, but it just gives us some time to
build and play.
A couple days to build and play before we record for the week. It'll most likely get done on Pixelborn because unless we own the cards.
Well, I do, but
yeah, I was gonna say you probably own all of the cards, so
for now. But I think it's going to be fun. I'm very excited about it. The other thing I wanted to mention is cooking time for next week is not going to be new decks this time because we have been talking about all these decks for the past several weeks. We want to talk about refinements we've made to a couple of the old ones and do sort of a short segment of the decks we've been using and things that were already built on cooking time. And it's going to also allow us to refresh our Dreamborn account so that is accurate. So just as a little heads up there for that.
All right, so speaking of cards that can be used to build some new decks, in this next segment we're going to be talking about...
Wait, do you hear that?
I do. What is that noise?
Do you know what that sounds like?
What does it? I don't know. What does it sound like?
I'm pretty sure that's a spoiler alert.
All right, so in my adventures across the internet looking for stuff to talk about in our podcast, I came across Lorcana.gg's set leaks. I'm not sure how these leaks came to be. There's about 8 pictures of all this binder full of, it's just a bunch of rares. No enchanteds because Rob hates spoilers as it is, let alone for pretty cards. That he just has hopes of pulling that he never will.
Oof.
Like the Alice that he still hasn't seen.
Well, I was explaining to this before because everybody's like, well, how are you going to handle spoilers if you're going to be like a podcaster? It's a necessary evil. As I tell people, you have to suffer for your art. I'll look at spoilers because people are going to want to hear about them. I don't like them. Everybody knows that, but whatever. I'm excited to see some new cards, so that's cool. But I have not looked at any of these, so these are all live reactions, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm excited to see your reactions to these.
So I'm on the page right now. I haven't looked at anything but the discard card.
Yep.
So okay.
We can dive right into the
all right. So you can take the first one. I'm gonna read.
Yeah. So the first one is the 4-cost uninkable action song, and then along came Zeus. A character with 4 or more can sing the song for free. It deals 5 damage to chosen character or location.
You don't have to read what songs do. I love when you do that. That's crazy. 5 damage that's a new big boy.
Yeah.
And it's
so things like
singing it for 4 and just smashing. And it says 2 locations too, which is a new sort of paradigm that we're learning about.
Which is what I was going to say is, so things like Smash and Let the Storm Rage On, those are all chosen characters. So I'm guessing those won't be errated into being able to attack locations. I
agree.
But they could. I don't think they will.
No.
But I'm guessing this will be, as far as we know, or as far as we've seen, this is the only one. I'm sure there'll be a Smash-like card that will only be able to deal 3 damage to locations or something.
That is fascinating. That's a lot of damage. So then we have the Sorcerer's Hat, an item. Incredible energy, pay 1 dull, name a card, then reveal the top card of your deck. If it's the name card, put that card into your hand, otherwise put it on top of your deck. That's dumb.
I think it synergizes good in purple because of Ursula's Cauldron. You can look at two cards, put one on the top, put one on the bottom,
That's just to
and then you
draw
can
it.
use the hat to draw it.
That's dumb.
It is a 2-cost inkable, so yeah, it's not great. I'm not a huge fan of
I
it.
don't. I mean, I guess if you say Elsa and you have seven Elsa, like seven different kinds of Elsa, then you're bound to hit one. So I guess
Yeah,
it makes these sort of mono uh, character decks a possibility, with some characters getting lots of different versions. So maybe in the far future, this could be a very good card where
yeah,
you could just run an Aladdin deck because you'd have 12 different Aladdins in two colors. And then you just say Aladdin, as long as one of those colors is purple.
yeah.
So I'm super unimpressed. The thing that I'm drooling about over here is Stratos.
That was when I showed these to Josh, our Twitter helper. He was very excited about making a Titan stack.
I just thought it's my favorite Titan. It's the Tornado Titan. It's just actually what it is, Stratos Tornado Titan. A 4/4 evasive 5 inkable. Gain lore equal to the number of Titan characters you have in play. That's really neat. And it's evasive, so it's hard to. Wow,
It's
and
hard
it's a
to get rid of,
4/4.
yeah.
So even if it is hit by something, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Dies to, and then along came Zeus, which is funny. Wow. So there's seems to be a Titan theme. It's really cool. This is a cool card.
Yeah, I'm
Depends how much the
excited.
other Titans cost. If they all cost 5, that's going to be difficult. But if there's some cheap ones, that could be a very silly deck.
Yeah, and I mean being able to turn, yeah, especially if you have like a 1 or 2 cost like cheap Titan, and you're just like, all right, I'm gonna put 6 of these in play and turn, have fun.
Oh man, how did they get these?
I don't know, no one knows, but let's not question it. Next up, we have 3-cost inkable Map of Treasure Planet. It's an item. You put into one less next location you play this turn, and then the other ability is you pay one less. The passive abilities you pay one less to move your characters to
Oh
a
wow, that's really really good. Probably. Uh, I say that because I don't know what good locations are at this point, but
yeah,
holy God, that is really powerful. Especially because you
yeah,
don't have to pay the move cost for things, and presumably these locations are going to have all these like amazing abilities. That's Steel's getting a
yeah.
good piece. That's really really cool.
So to help out your red, we have 6-cost inkable Peter Pan Pirate's Bane. He has a 4/5 shift 4 evasive turns for 2, which we love. You're next. Whenever he challenges a pirate character, this character takes no damage from the challenge.
Okay, I guess that's neat. It's very thematic, as much as you hate that, but I don't think it's that good of a card.
I don't hate it. It's you say the word thematic a lot.
It's because when things are thematic, I like to announce that. Um, it's a neat Peter Pan.
Yeah,
It's a 4/5 evasive that turns for 2, which is nice, but I'm not impressed. So Cursed Merfolk. It is a 1-cost uninkable 0/1. That's a first. Whenever this character is challenged, each opponent chooses and discards a card. Oh, it turns for 2. Okay,
it's good in discard.
sure.
Start it early, and if they don't have a way to kill it, you just sit there and keep turning for 2.
That's a pretty cool card, actually. It's like a Lilo, but
Better.
I don't know. I guess better. I guess you don't need. Who cares if Lilo does 1 damage? So yeah, it's a better
Yeah.
Lilo.
And then we have 5-cost Moana, Born a Leader. She's also a 4/4, like the Titan. She shifts for 3 and turns for 2. Welcome to my boat. Whenever this character quests while at a location, ready all of the other characters
Here.
here. They can't quest for the rest of the turn. So kind of on theme with the yellow Moana.
Mm-hmm.
Being
Yeah.
able to ready the princesses, this one just readies location characters. I think it's a good card.
Yeah. I mean, it seems a little slow, but it shifts for 3, so maybe there's going to be some cheap Moanas.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So we're just gonna jump quickly over to it because I know you're gonna see it in a second. 7-cost Mufasa, Champion of the Pride Lands, a 3/10 who turns for 3.
Hmm. That's a big old
big
kitten
butt.
face. Would it be great if you put that in the Mufasa deck?
That's what I said
That's
to
Mufasa.
Josh. I was like, you just change Mufasa's deck to steel instead of red, and you just Mufasa for a 10 cost Mufasa.
7 cost Mufasa, but he's a 3/10.
Or
It's just hard to
3/10
kill.
Yeah.
Without Dragonfire or, Hades or Let It Go, the big destruction
Have fun.
cards, that's a beast to get through. So there's also 2 cost inkable Helga Sinclair, Vengeful Partner. She's a villain. When this character is challenged and banished, banish the challenging character. So it's Cheshire Cat, but a 2/1 for 2.
One thing with Mufasa too, if you have mouse armor, you can give him resist 1, so that he's technically a 3/11.
Jeez. Starlight Vial, 4 cost uninkable item.
Efficient energy.
Efficient energy. I thought that was a D. Efficient energy didn't make sense. Efficient energy. Exert, pay 2 less for the next action you play this turn. Pay 2 and banish it. Draw 2 cards, then choose and discard a card. In an action-based deck, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's where I land.
So with this, we'll talk about probably one of the best cards coming out of Into the Inklands.
And he has a shiny.
This
is one of my favorite cards.
2 cost inkable morph Space Goo. He's a 2/1.
Space Goo.
Turns for 1, but that's not what you're using him for. You're using him for Mimicry. Milcery. You may play any character with shift onto this character as if this character had any name.
That is insane.
What?
This I've already seen, so I don't have a true reaction to it. But the first time I said, I think I laughed maniacally about the potentials for this.
So I think I said something to you about green purple, like not really being a color combination, and this was why. Fairy Godmother being able to shift onto this 2 cost.
Yeah. No, that's a really good card and will demand a lot of money when it first comes out, and that's a sell right out of the gate, boys and girls.
That's a sell, and that's it. If you have it and you want them, I would hold that. I would sell them early, but if you can get a play set of them for cheap,
you'll be able to sell these for $20 when the game comes out.
Yes,
and you'll be able to pick them up for $4 a month later. So make that money. That's such a good card. I'm so excited.
Next up, we have 7 cost Pluto. Defender.
There's a Pluto.
He is a 3/8. He shifts for 5. Assumably, we're getting another Pluto card if he shifts. He has Bodyguard. He turns for 2. And he has Guard Dog. At the start of your turn, remove up to 3 damage from this character.
Wow!
So I think this will be a good card in the Mufasa deck, or in any yellow deck.
I mean, wow! I love this Determined Defender. It's very Pluto. It's just he's a Floodborn in Pluto, which is really cool.
And he's not a planet.
It's a beautiful card. I love that. I don't know. I don't have anything right off the top of my head that I want to use it with, but
Rob
so
cool.
I lied. Pluto. It just totally lied. Grand Pobby. Every time at the start of your turn, he heals himself and then you gain 2 more. But those are 2 7 costs, so that's a little silly, but wow.
Technically, he shifts for 5. So and if you pair it with Mickey Mouse or Lanterns,
that's true.
Or
we talked
Doc,
about that earlier.
Then I can't wait for there to be a reveal that there's an enchanted of this, so you can hunt it down.
Oh, hunt that till like Red October. So I will do the 3 cost Maui's Fish Hook, which I love. That's a thing.
I love this card.
If you have a character named Maui in play, you may use this item's shapeshift ability for free. So shapeshift, otherwise you have to pay 2. Now it says for free. I don't know if you still have to exert it. I would assume so.
I assume you still have to exert it. You just don't have to pay the 2.
Choose one. Chosen character gains evasive until the start of your next turn. So you get that full turn coverage. Or chosen character gets +3 strength this turn. I think it's neat.
So let's help Red get some more.
It just makes Maui kill more things, which is silly.
Well, it's also just good in like red blue too. It's like if that deck does stick around, having a 3 item that can give something evasive to the end of your next turn, so you can give Flavor Sham or something you don't want to die evasive.
Yeah,
I mean, even without Maui, I still think this is it. I mean, I feel like most red decks
This
run
is-
Maui regardless.
I just think it's better with Mao, and I think that's kind of the point.
Yes.
But
Being able to
it's a
have
cool card.
Maui in play and being able to give something evasive for free, especially giving Maui evasive to kill something big.
And then
really
he still
good.
has evasive on their turn, so you can't kill him back.
Yeah, so I think this is going to be another card. I don't know if it's going to be super expensive out the gate.
No.
If it's not, I definitely think this is a 4 of that you should have for a lot of red decks.
4 of? I think that's a little silly, but I
Well, you should
see
want
maybe
4
3.
of just to have them.
No, I get that because, like you said, in the red blue, it's good because you can discard it as an item. But without Maui, it's only decent.
It's all right without Maui, yeah.
But so, I think I could definitely find a 2 of slot for this in red.
100%. So next up, we have Captain Hook, Master Swordsman. He's a 5 cost, inkable. He's a 5/4. Nemesis, during your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, ready this character. He can't quest for the rest of this turn. Turns for 1. I forgot to say that. Now, here's what's actually pretty interesting. Man to man, characters named Peter Pan lose evasive and can't gain evasive.
That's awesome. I'm sorry to say it, but that's super thematic. It's awesome that he can just prevent Peter Pan from getting away. It's like that's really neat. I don't think cool. It's a diet Scar. It's maybe better than Scar in some ways because it's inkable. It's only costs 5. It's only a little bit smaller. Only turns for 1, and it kills Peter Pan's. So I could see this making a run for maybe at that slot instead of Scar, but it's interesting. And then 2 cost item, the Lamp, which is awesome that it got a card so quickly. Good or evil, banish this item. If you have a character named Jafar in play, draw 2 cards. If you have a character named Genie in play, return chosen character with cost 4 or less to their player's hand. If you have both, you get both. So that's awesome.
It's all right. I mean, it's a 2 cost. It's purple. I don't think we have a purple. We don't have a purple Genie that I know of.
There's not really any purple Aladdin cards that I can think of right off the gate.
Jafar is purple. I know that.
There are some purple Jafars. That's true.
But unless we're getting a purple Genie, it'd basically have to be. I mean, you don't have to, but you'd want to pair it with green, so it'd be another green purple.
I think that this card was actually only made because they heard about my format, and it's going to be a really good Aladdin format card.
Yeah,
for stories.
So before you even scroll down, I'm just going to read this card to you, and I'm not going to tell you the name. I'm just going to tell you what it does, and you'll be able to guess the name.
Okay.
But I know you're excited for this. It's a 2 cost inkable, 2/2, turns for 1, has support. Its ability, I can't even say the ability. Whenever this character quests, if you have characters named Dewey and Louie in play, you may draw 3 cards.
Must be Huey.
Yes.
Is it?
So there's our first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our first look at DuckTales.
Oh, that's so awesome. 2/2 support is always meh. So
I'm sure the three of them and Scrooge are probably going to have some like big synergy.
When it's character quests, if you have to have Dewey and Louie in play, so there's got to be a way to keep them alive.
Yeah, we don't know. They're not. I can tell you, there's not either of them in these leaks, so we don't know what they.
So Huey's a rare, so hopefully they're not that rare.
Yeah, Scrooge will probably be a silver rare.
So guess. I will pick Mama Odie, which is a 3 cost uninkable 1/3 mystical maven. They love alliteration in this game. This is going to be good whenever you play a song. You may put the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down and exert it. So that's interesting.
Well, it's interesting too because the one that got revealed that we talked about a couple weeks ago that was purple is purple, but it has shift, so it's like I guess they're planning on you play. I mean, you don't have to, but they kind of set up to play blue purple, which is a little weird.
Oh well, I think it's pretty cool that when you play a song, you get to do 1 jump ahead, so that if you sing 1 jump ahead, you get to do it twice.
Yeah.
But it's a little scary taking the top 2 cards and putting them into your ink. But we also can't get sad about things we don't know about.
So we have 3 costs. Gustav the Giant. He is a 6/6.
Wow, 3 costs 6/6.
He turns for 1. All tied up, this character enters play and exerted and cannot ready at the start of your turn.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Break free. During your turn, whenever one of your other characters banishes another character in a challenge, you may ready this character.
Interesting.
So he only turns for 1, but he can turn for one, banish a character, ready, and turn again because it doesn't say you can't quest. I don't think that's what you'd be doing with him. I think you would be killing something tiny, especially at a 3 cost, and then just swinging with 6.
No, you can quest with him. It says you may ready this character.
No, you can. I just don't think you want to. I think
No,
you'd rather.
why would you?
Right.
I would just leave it readied until just to scare your opponent. Be like, all right, bring up something. I'm gonna smack it.
Yeah, put your Maui in play.
I mean, it makes interesting red steel, which is not a common combination with all the,
Yeah.
Your what is it, the shield and LeFou, going the distance. There's a bunch of different cards that untap things, so it's an interesting little card. 3/3 with a 3 cost 6/6. That's interesting. And then the last one is 5 cost Audrey Ramirez, the engineer, a 2/5 with Ward, and she turns for 2. Whenever this character quests, ready one of your items. Interesting.
Pretty good. I mean, of course, again, red, blue, anything that pairs with red, like red, blue, red, purple, does not need more cards. But I think blue is that big item, heavy color. So I think it's very thematic to the color.
I just don't see what item I really want to ready that much other than a shield.
Yeah, I would say shield, maybe. I mean, if you're using Maui's fish hook.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, like being able to give 2 things evasive. Yeah, I don't know. I would say maybe Fishbone Quill if you're like pushing for a be prepared, but other than that, I don't think I would see anything you'd want to really ready. I feel like most of the times you want to discard them anyway if you're with Flavor Sham. But
so we go oh nice. So we go down to the next page and I'll pick Lucky.
I was gonna say pick whatever one you want to read.
The 15th puppy. A 4 cost uninkable 2/3, so I'm waiting to read the good part. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may put each card with cost 2 or less into your hand, put the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order.
Each character card, yeah.
Puppy Love is when this character quests. If you have 4 or more other characters in play, your other characters get 1 lore pip this turn. It's interesting, but it's a really big setup.
Yeah,
I don't think it's worth it at Uninkable. It's a super cute card though. Pongo carrying.
So since this is the 15th puppy, that means 101 of these cards are going to be other Dalmatians.
Yeah, right.
So it's confirmed the half of a little less than half of set 2 or set 3 is going to be Dalmatians.
It's just dogs.
I wouldn't be shocked if by like a year or 2 Lorcana does do all like 101 Dalmatians.
I don't think all 101 of them are named. I think there's only like the main
They'll name them.
12 or 15 of them, and then there's just all the extra puppies.
We have 4 cost on your feet now. It's an action. Ready all of your characters and deal 1 damage to each of them. They can't quest for the rest of the turn. I'm very indifferent to this card. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, we've already seen that you can use damage advantageously if you can just heal right up with a Rapunzel. Readying all your characters keeps them all technically alive if you're going against decks that can't interact with you. But
you can heal with Grandpappy and just heal your entire.
But there's no healing.
That's true.
I don't see the necessity for it. If it was a song, maybe. But a 4 cost uninkable action that does that, I don't think it's worth it.
I don't either.
So I'll pick Bernard. Oh, that's from Rescuers Down Under, isn't it? That's
You're
awesome.
asking the wrong person.
I should have went with Baloo because I just saw that, but I'm gonna do Bernard because it's down. 4 cost 1/5 turns for 2. I'll check it out at the end of your turn. If this character is exerted, you may ready another chosen character of yours. Ooh, wow! That's
again
neat.
Doesn't say it can't quest.
Yes, it does. It's at the end of your turn, so that means it can.
Oh yeah,
that's really neat. I feel like he got 1 shiny and 1 not shiny of every one of these cards.
He does.
That's very weird. Or she.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do the blue. You can do the next.
Yeah, go ahead.
I had to do this.
You want to do the blue?
I love that. It's one of my favorite shows. 3 cost blue from... Oh, wait. Oh, okay. All right, I'm just drinking it all in here. The 3-cost Baloo from Tailspin with, I can't see what it says.
I can't read the name of it either.
Baloo
No, I can't.
von Brunwald the 13th or something
I
like
think
that.
so. Yeah.
But it's Dreamborn, so that makes sense why he's not real. An 03 bodyguard turns for 1. Let's make like a tree. When this character is banished, gain 2 lore.
Not
Interesting.
terrible.
Well, yeah, it's a bodyguard, so they have to go through
Yeah.
it, or
It's
they don't.
uninkable, which sucks, but
I really, actually, really like this card a lot. Other than Morph, this is my second favorite card.
yeah. We're gonna skip the Peter Pan since it was officially revealed and we've already talked about it before.
Okay.
We're gonna do. I'll take the 1-cost Rafiki Mystical Fighter. He's a 0/2 with Challenger 3. Whenever he challenges a hyena character, this character takes no damage from the challenge.
Nice little bonus.
Again, another thematic card. He's all right. I mean, he's a 1/2 with Challenger 3, or
He's
his
an
0/2 with
0/2.
Challenger 3.
Yeah. I think he's
It's
worse
all
than
right.
he's worse than Hook, because Hook at least hits
Yeah.
for 1 on the rebound if he can. But
Yeah.
it's not bad.
No, it's not.
It's got some applications, I think. 3-cost Heart of Tefiti is an item, another card for the Moana story. Create life, exert, pay 2, put the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down, exerted. They're really leaning into the ramp again with Blue, which I
Yeah.
like, because they're like, oops, we gave too much card draw, let's go back to ramp. That's a really cool, it's a cool card.
You want to take the red Pinocchio?
Kitten face. There's a red Pinocchio, just like you said, Simba's Scrappy Cub. 1/1 turns for 3. 2 uninkable.
He's a 2-cost uninkable. Yeah, it's the same as the Pinocchio from this set.
But it's a great art. I love that art.
Yes. I'm jumping right down because same with you.
Gasp. You can have you take the bottom. I know that's the one you want.
5-cost Stitch Covert Agent. He's a 3/3 with evasive. While this character's at a location, he gains ward and he turns for 2. This will be in every single green deck I run. I don't care. I hope we get another Stitch Enchanted because I love Stitch. I wish this was the art that they put on the mat instead of the art that they did. I'm guessing there's
really
also a red Stitch. I'm guessing there's a red Stitch, judging on how bad the mat looked and the fact that it was very red colored.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take it away.
Well, I immediately saw a card that I was begging for, and it's the Bare Necessities.
Yep.
It's a song, obviously. 2-cost. Chosen opponent reveals their hand and discards a non-character card of your choice.
Of your choice makes it huge.
Except for the non-character part. So you can have a whole hand without anything in it that you can discard. So unfortunately, I don't think I would run this, but I love it.
We have 4-cost Heart of Atlantis.
Uninkable.
It's an item. Uninkable, yep. The Bare Necessities is inkable. I think we forgot to say that. It's tap it and Life Giver. You pay 2 less for the next character you play this turn. It's just a slightly more expensive lantern.
It's a slightly more expensive, slightly more powerful lantern.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like
same cost as 2 lanterns.
I feel like there's better things you want to play it for.
I also think you can put 2 lanterns and play 2 and 3 and then take 2 off on 4 and play something for 6. Whereas this one you're paying 4, you can put something for 2 and then turn 7, then you're playing something more expensive, but it's not.
As I imagine, there's going to be more item destruction as well. And if you destroy one of 2 lanterns, you still can have a little bit. You destroy your 1 Heart of Atlantis, then you're just SOL.
So next we have a card that'll go in Dave's deck.
Yes, for sure. This was made for Dave's deck. 6-cost Robin Hood Daydreamer. It's a 4/5, turns for 4.
Yeah, we love that. We love turning for 4.
That's a really good card. They just don't have anything that turns for 4 that just straight up turns for 4 like that, other than BLT Mickey and Madam Mim Dragon. So that's very interesting.
I feel like there's one more. I thought there was a Facilier. I don't know. I feel like there's one more card that turns for 4, but I could be wrong.
Nope. There's one more card that turns for 4. It's the Flynn from my deck.
Yes, that's the other one.
But that one has a stipulation.
All right, so with that, that's our episode for the week. Don't forget, we are having our Limitless tournament.
It's
Um,
on, what was the
the
day?
26th.
Yep, 26th of
26th
January,
at
6 p.m. Eastern Standard
registration
Time.
will be up on our link tree, which you can find most easily on our Twitter account. It's also just linktree dot whatever it is, link.tree/turn for two. We have our Discord server up there, which you can message us your 2 cards for our cooking time challenge,
I'm very
or
excited about that.
send them to us on Twitter. And we will be checking frequently over the week. And we're excited to be with you guys next week and for the rest of 2024.
I am absolutely with that. It's been a really good start. As you can see, we're trying to up our production, add a little bit of fun stuff. But we really appreciate all the listeners, and please give us your comments and let us know how we're doing. We'd love the support.
Yeah, and we'll see you guys next week.